Back to the channel. It's Katima. I'm happy to see you again. We're discussing self mastery along this journey of life. So, today's topic that we'll be talking about will be regarding mentality. So, before we get into today's topic, go ahead and like that video for me, hit that subscribe button, and be sure that you turn on your post notification bells so that as soon as I post a new video, you're one of the first to be notified. And with that being said, let's get straight into it. All right, so mentality, guys. Every single thing is mental. Anything, everything from healing to detoxing to figuring out what you want to eat to decision making, every single thing is mental in this world. So it has to start in the mind. When it comes to self mastery, when it comes to self improving, when it comes to developing our character, it's very important that we start with our mindset because the mind literally controls the rest of the body. And sometimes we develop certain type of traits and characteristics that may not necessarily be our own, but it could be a learned behavior from someone that we grew up around, such as a parent or sibling or maybe a really good friend that you hang around. And you take on some of those habits, and some of those habits, especially when it comes to mental habits, may not be the best for you when you're trying to improve yourself and level up in life. So I want to talk about that a little bit. So for me, I think everything is about your perspective. What is your perspective on life? How do you see things? Because the way you see things generally will dictate on what is to come in your life, what is to come into your life in the future. Now, what I mean by that is, let's say I am an optimistic person. I always think on the positive side. I see abundance and prosperity. And even when something doesn't seem right, I always try to figure out a way around the wrong to make it seem right. If I had that kind of thinking, the only opportunities and experiences that are going to come into my life are going to be experiences of said such energy because that is how energy works. That is how frequency or a vibration works. But if I am more of a cynical person and when somebody tells me something or when I read about something or hear about something, I automatically think of why this can't work. I automatically think about the negatives, then that's going to be a problem. Because what you're going to have to do is unlearn all of that thinking, all of those habits. You're going to have to literally unlearn that nature so you can have a fresh start, a fresh, clean foundation, and then start relearning new information. And I'll tell you why that's important. Inside of the brain, when we think, when we react, those reactions are stored inside of the body and it's stored inside of the brain. Usually we call it muscle memory, right? Just like driving home, sometimes when you drive, you don't even realize like I'm driving, like you're there, but you're not all the way here. But somehow still you're able to get home safe because of muscle memory. And it's the same thing with the brain when it comes to thinking. If you've always thought a certain type of way, because of that habitual and repetitive nature, you will more than likely continue to think that same kind of way. And because you think that kind of way, you will also attract more experiences that make you feel and think that kind of way as well. That's why it's important to unlearn those thinking habits so that you can relearn again. So, like I was saying, inside of the brain, you have something called neural pathways. Your neural pathways are basically like a map of your reactions, of your emotions, and of your actions themselves. So, for example, if let's say you're with a partner, let's use this example, and your partner gives you those words, we need to talk. Most people panic when they hear we need to talk. Why? Probably because they have some kind of PTSD from a time where somebody said we need to talk. And every time I've heard we need to talk, it never turned out. So now when I hear we need to talk, I get really antsy, I get anxious, I get nervous, I start overthinking, I start worrying, I start jumping to conclusions, over analyzing situations, and you don't even know what the talk is about. Those are neural pathways. The reaction that your body just went through based on a past reaction or experience, that's where it creates neural pathways. And because you continue to think that way over and over and over again, you've strengthened those neural pathways inside of your brain. So now you just automatically go to it like muscle memory. What we have to focus on doing is unlearning that. In order to unlearn it, you have to acknowledge that that's an issue. That's the first start. Once you acknowledge it, now you have to figure out, you have to do some research and you have to figure out ways to unlearn it. It is not a easy road. It's not. It can be, but it can be very difficult, especially if you have very strong thinking patterns. So you have to basically train your mind and train your brain in a sense to not respond how you normally would. Remember muscle memory? In the beginning, when you're doing this process, when you're consciously saying, okay, this is what I want to do, when you begin, it is going to be so easy to think the same way because of muscle memory. It will automatically take you there. But what you have to do is mentally stop yourself, realize what's going on, acknowledge it, and now move forward with a whole new thinking pattern. Like you literally just have to flip the script. So, okay, say I'm thinking, something happens, somebody hits my car. Instead of me, what the hell, blah, 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 getting upset, body literally tensing up and going into a rage, instead of me doing that, I have to stop myself before ooh, I'm acting out of character. I don't want to do that. Let me calm down. A lot of the times you just have to sit there. That's how I started. Like I just couldn't do nothing. I couldn't do anything. I just had to sit still and shut my mouth. And that's how it was for me for the probably for the first few months of starting this process. That's how it was. That's how I had to stop myself. And then the way how you counteract that negative thinking or that negative neural pathway is by thinking of something else positive right behind it. So as soon as you have that negative thought or that negative reaction and you catch yourself, automatically jump right into the positive reaction or the positive thinking. It's challenging at first. It's not hard. So let me not say hard. It is challenging at first, but it gets easier, muscle memory. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. That's the thing. The more you do it, the stronger those new positive neural pathways take set inside of your brain. So remember, you have to unlearn and relearn. You may have to go do some research on some other techniques to see what other people do to stop themselves from having negative thinking patterns as well. But challenging a negative thoughts with a positive one always works. It always does the job. Trust me. You know, something that you can do, a good tip would be to make some affirmation cards and put down whatever it is, whatever kind of intention you have or desire that you have, put it on that card. I want to respond. I respond in a calm manner. Nothing gets me out of character. I'm always peaceful and tranquil. Write those down on a card, even if it's not true. Okay, even if you're in your rah-rah stage and like you're just ready to go off and cuss somebody out, it doesn't matter. And affirmations is something else that we're going to get into. It's almost like a manipulation of the brain. It's almost like a manipulation of energy in a sense. And people don't like when I use that word manipulation because it has such a negative connotation. But in this sense, it's not negative at all. So yeah, make you some affirmations. Keep going over those affirmations until you get it. Literally, if your goal is I want to create positive thinking patterns, put that on the card. I have positive thinking patterns. I have healthy ways of thinking. I have healthy ways of responding to chaos. Put that down on those affirmation cards. Read them over and over again. And if you really want to see some effect real quick, Don't just write them, don't just read them, but also say them aloud and say them every day. And if you can, say them several times a day until it seeps into your brain. And what you're doing subconsciously, you're creating new neural pathways. So that is a way for you to create new neural pathways inside of your brain using affirmations. Another technique that you can use to create new neural pathways is reading. Read material that is about that topic. Read positive material. A good pick me up book, if you're feeling down and out and you really need some good positivity, is called The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. Now, it is religious based, however, it's excellent reading, very easy to understand, quick reading, and it gets the job done, and it teaches you so much. And it's not just about religion, it's teaching you about the mind and how to think and respond positively. I would start there. I would start with affirmations. I would start with Dr. Norman Vincent Peale book, The Power of Positive Thinking. I wish I had it right here. I know I got it somewhere over there in my book collection. And I would practice always counteracting every negative thought with a positive one. And that's going to help you create new neural pathways inside of your brain. So, another thing that you are going to have to do is along the same lines, you are going to have to learn how to skew every negative thing or thought or experience into a positive one. Now, what do I mean by that? When something negative happens that usually you would interpret that as negative, you have to find a way to turn that negative experience into a positive experience. So, for example, let's say you're unemployed and you're looking for a job, and you find this job and you get so excited about it, and you go to your first interview and you feel like you had such a great interview, you're pumped up, you're claiming it, this is your job, and you get that email, because they don't call you about that. You get that email that says, thank you for your consideration in this position, but we have decided to go with other candidates that better suit this role or position. Right? What will you usually do? You will feel really down. Your body will probably tense, your heart will probably stop and drop all the way to your ass, probably. And you start feeling down automatically, right? Because you're disappointed. In that instance, as soon as you get that email, you don't give your body nor your mind the time to even go down that rabbit hole of emotions, reactions, and feelings. You don't do it. As soon as you get that email and you read it and it says that I moved on to better applicants, thank you, God, for the opportunity to apply for this job. I really did want this job, but I know something else out there is way better for me. And that's why I'm not getting this opportunity right now. Did you see how I turned something negative into positive? Now, when you say that to yourself and your brain hears it first, and your body starts to interpret what you're saying, the reaction is different. You're not tense. Your heart didn't drop all the way to your ass. You're not automatically disappointed and depressed. It's a completely different process that goes on inside the body. Remember those neural pathways. That's how you would create a new neural pathway. That's why I say your perspective. It's all about your perspective. You have to change your perspective. You have to change your way of understanding information and processing information in order to unlearn some of those very negative and detrimental thinking patterns to relearn something that is more positive and vital. Okay? So you're going to have to practice that now. And that's something else that is going to take practice because it's not going to come naturally because it's not natural to you yet. But I promise you, once you start, where energy flows, where energy goes, energy flows. So once you start, it gets a lot easier for you after that. Let me tell y'all this story. I remember I had this mentor, right? And he was telling me this story about this guy. There's this man and he has a son. And his son just turned 18 or 19 or something like that, right? And his son, he was so proud of his son and He wanted his son to go on to college to become like a doctor or a lawyer. You know how parents always got high hopes for us. Where were them high hopes for yourself? With that, I ain't gonna go there. But anyway, so yeah, he wanted his son to go on to be something great, of course. And his son was out living life and having a good time. And can't remember the specifics of what happened. I want to say that the son was doing some type of activity and he ended up injuring himself really bad. He actually ended up breaking one of his legs. So he had to do surgery and then they put a cast on him and he had to be sat down for a few months, right? So now the dad automatically jumping to the more negative side of thinking. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened to you. You shouldn't have been doing X, Y, and Z. You know, stuff like this can happen. And I can't believe this happened. This is the worst thing to ever happen to you. And blah, 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 blah. And because the son leg was messed up, he missed out on some opportunity that the dad was really, like trying to get him to get into. And so the dad just he was over it, right? The son, because of the dad's reaction and stuff he was saying, of course the son started thinking the same way and was getting him down and disappointed and stuff like that, right? Okay. Y'all tell me why. About a month or a month and a half after the son got that leg injury, right? This was back in the days when they used to draft men into the army, into the service. A draft happened, or whatever the heck it's called. And they came to the house looking for the son because he's young, 18, 19, nice and strong and vital. They came to the house looking for him, y'all. And because his leg was broke, couldn't do nothing with him. No good. That's exactly what they told that man. You no good to us. Did you see the positive in that story? Thank you. I know this experience. I have no idea why my leg just broke. I have no idea why this is happening right now, but thank you for life. Thank you that I'm still alive. That's the mindset you should have had when you first broke your leg. That's number one, right? Number two, thank you, God, you broke my leg and sat me out because, boy, if I had to go into this service, I just don't know where I would be. I don't know what I would think. I don't know. I don't know. Did you see that? Did you see the positive in that thinking? Did you see the positivity in that perspective? Did you notice that in the first example where the dad is, beating down on the son and telling him like, I can't believe this happened. You shouldn't have been doing this. And the dad's disappointed and now the son's sulking and he's disappointed because he's listening to his dad. And then come to find out 2 months later, they was getting ready to draft your ass right into the service. You weren't going to see no more of your daddy. And God only knows if you would have came back alive. You see? So that reaction from the dad had not just you mentally going through a whole process, a negative process of thinking, patterns of thinking, but it also puts your body through it. Remember, I told you that when you feel disappointed, how do you feel? Your heart hurt. You don't feel like doing nothing. You don't feel like talking to nobody. Your vibration is down. Your frequency is poor and low. Can't manifest nothing in that state. Can't get any kind of positivity in that kind of state of mind. Versus when you skew your thinking or skew your perspectives to positivity, you get a completely different reaction in the body because it's a reaction of gratitude. And if anybody knows anything about the law of attraction or manifesting, that is one of the main components. You must be living a life of gratitude. That is how you bring more to you. When you are grateful for what you currently have, that's literally how you attract more and bring more because your mind is focused on the greatness. So guess what you're going to attract into your life? The greatness. But when your mind is disappointed, I'm disappointed, but when your mind is focused on the disappointment, what do you think you're going to attract more of into your life? The disappointment. Y'all, an excellent book that I'm going to shout out. No, I'm not getting paid for this. I wish I was. The Body Keeps Score. This book is by, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, Bessel van der Kolk. He's a doctor, MD. And this book explains the brain, the mind, and the body and the healing of trauma. it literally goes through exactly what we're talking about now on how the body keeps the score of the reactions of the mind processing that you have. The body keeps the score. You stress your body out when you are a person who focuses on lack. You fuel your body when you are a person who focuses on abundance. This book goes into psychology. This is a very interesting read. If you are into this kind of thing and you want to learn more about your body and your mind, so you can be not just aware of yourself, but also aware of other people that's around you, hello, you should get that book. But yeah, y'all, your body keeps score. So those, it's not just the neural pathways that are in your mind now that are being created. It's also building up different kinds of stress in the body that's being created. And you know what happens when that when you build up different emotions and stress in the body? That's how you have health conditions. I can tell you one off rip, polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS. That's one of them. Literally that's literally one of the ways that you can manifest PCOS into yourself, into your body. When you're going through all of those different emotions and reactions, your central nervous system can't calm down. It can't catch a break. It's all over the place, jumping all over here, all over there, right? Like it's on some sugar, like it's hyper. It's not nice and steady and calm and stable to keep your emotions in check. So when your central nervous system is all over the place, that's going to be messing with your endocrine system, which your endocrine system is connected to your hormones. And your hormones is affects how you react and how you think. So yeah, y'all, it all ties in hand. This is why we need to talk about this so we can learn more about this, do our own research, so we can draw our own conclusions about certain things, and then move forward so that we can be on our best self path. Period. All right, guys. So let's talk about some activities to strengthen the brain and to strengthen the mind. I remember when I was younger, my mom had me do a lot of word search puzzles. I love those. And I didn't realize back then the power and the effect that it had on the brain and on the mind, but I do now. Those words. So, word search puzzles where you have to circle the words in there and find them. We used to have different contests to see who could find the more words. So it's like you're looking at a paper and your brain starts spotting the words. Like your brain just start doing a whole bunch of stuff going and on in there. I'm telling y'all, that's a great activity to do to strengthen the brain. Any type of brain game. Um, they have another one called Spot the Difference when they show you like two almost identical images, but they have very slight differences, and it's up to you to figure out what's the difference. That's an excellent way to train the mind. Meditation is an excellent way to train the mind and also to ground the body. When you're meditating, that's a good way to speak affirmations to yourself. So if you're in that state where you want to become a better self, you want to develop your character, you want to change the way that you're thinking while you're meditating, that's a great thing to do. You can say those affirmations to yourself over and over again. Another excellent activity to strengthen the mind is visualization and using your imagination. It taps into your creativity. It gets those creative juices flowing in the mind, and it also brings you closer to whatever it is that you can imagine. Because remember, everything is mental. Remember what I said in the beginning of this video, everything is mental and it starts with a thought. So if you have one little thought and you keep going back to that same thought, and every time you go back to that same thought, the desire gets bigger and bigger, and you get more excited and you begin to anticipate it, you literally will bring whatever that thought is to you. That is the law of attraction. That is how you manifest. That is also a topic that we will be discussing in another video because I'm pretty sure you guys are going to want to get into that. And I know a lot about a lot when it comes to that. So we'll definitely discuss that a little bit later. But it starts with the mind. So in order for you to actually manifest stuff, you have to already be practicing being a thinker of abundance and gratitude and prosperity and good fortune and good luck and success and wealth and health. So you have to unlearn all those negative thinking patterns first before you can even manifest good for your life. I mean, you can still manifest, but it may take you a lot longer than it could have. And you may not get exactly what you want, how you want it, because you had a lot of noise going on in your head as well. That noise is that negative thinking pattern. So you definitely will want to improve that first before getting into the law of attraction or manifesting things into your life. If you are a holistic type person and you're a tea drinker, I have some herbs. I know a few herbs that you can take that strengthen the mind. Peppermint is an excellent herb. Rosemary is an excellent herb. Um, Sage, that's a wonderful herb as well. Lemon balm is a great um, brain healthy herb. Let's see what else. Mugwort, ginseng, turmeric. And turmeric, that's also almost like a win-win-win type situation because turmeric boosts the health of the brain and the concentration, right? But it also removes inflammation out of the body. So at the same time you're boosting the brain, you could also be removing some of that negativity out of the brain at the same time, as long as you're thinking about it. And then that's where your thinking pattern is going to come in as well. Because this is how it's going to go. You're going to be drinking a turmeric, say you do turmeric shots. So you'll be drinking the turmeric every single time before you drink turmeric. You're going to say, when I drink this turmeric, I'm going to be removing negative thinking patterns. When I drink this turmeric, I will be installing positive and healthy thinking patterns. When I drink this turmeric, I will be expanding my positive neural pathways inside of my brain, right? That's literally creating new neural pathways because you're saying it. You're going to keep saying it every single time you drink it. The actual physical manifestation of it is the turmeric working and doing its thing because turmeric does remove inflammation out of the body. And then at the same time, you're also boosting your brain power, your concentration, and overall brain health and vitality. Y'all got to get into it now. I am a herbalist. So, that's my team when we get into that herb talk and talk about flowers and what's it not said. But yes, those are some herbs and some activities that you guys can do to increase the brain power. So, guys, the last thing that I would like to discuss today is I'm going to read a quick insert out of my book. I actually wrote a book. This is not about self mastery for some, it actually is. But this book is called My Sister's Healer. This is how it looks. It can be bought on Amazon. It is a holistic guide to healing yourself from PCOS. I mentioned it earlier, polycystic ovary syndrome. It's basically an imbalance of the hormones. So, this book is going to teach you about different natural and holistic techniques, strategies, herbs, practices, and exercises that are going to expedite your healing. They're going to detox you first. Then it's going to put some healing properties into your body and also expedite your healing at the same time. So, y'all, I wrote this book and I have a whole chapter on mentality. That's how important it is. Everything. Remember when I said everything starts in the brain? Everything is mental. So, chapter 9 of my book is called Mental Health and Mindset. And I'm just going to read like the first paragraph or so. One of the most important steps to heal yourself from PCOS is to develop a healthy, positive state of mind. So we're going to reword that. One of the most important steps to master self is to develop a healthy, positive state of mind. The way you think and feel directly determines how the cells, tissues, organs, and processes in our bodies collaborate to perform healing. It's our thoughts and emotions that are continuously reassembling, reorganizing, and recreating our bodies. Did you hear that? Let me run that back real quick. It's our thoughts and emotions that are continuously reassembling, reorganizing, and recreating our body. Most of us have heard the saying, you get out what you put in, and the same applies to our bodies. Just how one would nourish a plant with clean, refreshing water, soil, or plant food in order to reap the best benefits, as so we would nourish our body and our mind with positivity, gratitude, feel good thoughts, humor, and so on. Okay? So, y'all, everything is going to start in the mind with those neural pathways that we were talking about. And I also, inside of the book in this chapter, I also go very much so in depth about how the thoughts affects the physical reaction of the body and how that ties um, into your mentality as well. So if you are a woman or you know a woman who is struggling with a hormonal imbalance, be sure that you refer her to my book. Tell her to go on Amazon, look up My Sister's Healer. Sister is spelled Cyster. My Sister's Healing by Katima White. And she'll get one hell of a healing from out of this book alone. And it won't just heal her from PCOS alone, because I'm an herbalist and I believe in natural healing of the mind, body, and spirit. And I do incorporate the mind, body, and spirit inside this book right here. Look, once those neural pathways are created, they're there. The more you use them, they get bigger, deeper, and stronger, grandfathered in. And then it goes on to say, now here's the thing, creating the neural pathway is easy, but unrooting them can be a tedious process. Remember I said that? It'll take some work, but it's doable and it'll be worth it. The key is to create a new neural pathway and to develop them until they become bigger than the neural pathways that you're rewiring, well, unwiring. So it says the goal to creating new neural pathways and to develop them while at the same time unwiring the ones that are already there. And how do you unwire a neural pathway? Remember what I said? One of the techniques is by counteracting every negative thought with a positive thought or by using affirmations. Both of those are great, powerful, and efficient techniques to rewiring and unwiring neural pathways inside of the brain. And I even go into how to create new neural pathways, and I give you step by step how to do it. So y'all get the book. Get the book, get the information, because the more you know, the more you grow. And on that note, I think we're going to leave that right there, y'all. We need to create some affirmations for the group. That's our first affirmation. The more you know, the more you grow. It was nice being with y'all again today, y'all. And I'm excited for the next video that we're going to be discussing. So, again, be sure that if you have not done so by now, make sure you like that video, hit that subscribe, and turn on the post notification bell. Because when I drop these videos, I need y'all to be on it so we have something to talk about. All right, guys. Until later, you going to say something to the camera, boo? Okay. Guess not. That's the dog, Duchess. I'll see you guys later.